Hi, y'all, and welcome to today's session of the Student Organization Zoom series. My name is Jackie Phillips, and I serve as the Senior Coordinator for Student Engagement in the Department of Engagement, Leadership, and Service. Today, we're going to be providing an overview of the updates, the COVID-19 guidelines for student organizations. As I hope you know, we recently made updates to the guidelines, and they can be found on the ELS website. If you go to els.uga.edu and look under the engagement tab and then COVID-19 resources, you'll be able to provide the most up-to-date document as well as some reminders that have been outlined on that homepage. These updates came following a review by the leadership of the UGA Preventative Measures Advisory Board, also known as PMAB. Many of the updates and reminders address food at events and meetings, group size, location of events, and then we've also updated lots of links for further reference. I'm going to be providing some updates and reminders today regarding these different bullet points. However, we strongly encourage students to read the full COVID-19 guidelines for student organizations, which are on our website, and to reach out to UGA ELS at uga.edu with any questions, since today's Zoom series will not be an exhaustive list. To get us started, some important reminders and updates regarding food. At all meetings, events, and common group activities, students are discouraged from having common food and drink distribution sources. They vary individually portioned in prepackaged containers to be picked up at the end of the event or meeting. Eating and drinking during an event without a mask creates a situation with an increased risk of virus transmission, especially in light of the newly identified COVID-19 variants. Some strategies to consider or are potentially implementing include providing snacks or meals to go at the end of an event or meeting. For retreats or longer meetings, provide extra time during meals so that participants may find alternative spaces or go outside to eat. Strongly encourage participants to avoid snacking or drinking during events or meetings. As you can see, many of these recommendations encourage students to not be eating all within the same space. So we encourage you to think creatively, find ways to provide food as to-go options so that after you all are done with your meeting or activities, that students can take it with them to go and eat it on their way out once they're no longer all in the same space. Or if you are going to be providing mealtime, encouraging them to go elsewhere, so throughout the building that you're in, outside, so that not everyone is eating within the space. Even if they're farther than 6 feet apart, it's really important that not everyone's eating in the same space, especially with the increased risk of virus transmission due to the new variants. For campus reservations, all meeting and classrooms on campus have lowered capacity numbers, which you can find on the CRUT's website. Indoor tabling reservations are available for this spring 2021 semester. And whether you're tabling indoors or outdoors, it is strongly encouraged to not have more than 2 student organization representatives per 6-foot table. So you can be distanced from one another at each end of the table horizontally. Per UGA's COVID-19 policies, masks are required in all indoor locations along with social distancing. We also strongly encourage the requirement of wearing masks even at events outdoors. So no matter what your organization's doing, we strongly encourage mask and social distancing. Any event hosted in a large event space, so Grand Hall, Tate Theater, Legion Field, at most will be able to accommodate between 100 to 120 people based on the space and setup. Student organizations are encouraged to host virtual events whenever possible until the pandemic improves. An in-person event should limit group sizes to ensure social distancing. Any meeting with over 50 people should be considered to be held online, and then outside events with social distancing are the preferred option. Your organization should consider tailoring experiences and services to accommodate social distancing practices, and some strategies for that include using larger venues and open air spaces that allow spatial flexibility, offering the same activity multiple times to enable smaller groups, so potentially sending out a sign up for different time slots that you're going to be offering that activity, supplementing or alternatively delivering experiences online, and then configuring available spaces and furnishings in new ways. A few additional reminders for events are to limit activities and shared items that require physical contact, so potentially not having a sign-in sheet where everyone's sharing the same pen and using the same piece of paper. Consider using QR codes or finding other ways for people to sign in digitally or online. and not having activities where, you're throwing a ball to one another or sharing the same materials, just in order to limit that shared contact. Additionally, students are actively encouraged to self-clean following all events and meetings. And then for any off-campus events and activities, student organizations are asked to follow current guidance in place from state and local officials, as well as health leaders. Student organizations are strongly encouraged to include a contingency plan when advertising programs, events, and activities. So include potentially what your backup plan might be if you end up needing to cancel or move the event online. And then also student organizations are encouraged to utilize the involvement network to promote and manage events. If you plan to have an event online, Zoom is a great resource, and so UGA offers free Zoom accounts to all students, faculty, and staff. And by using your UGA account and logging in through the UGA platform, you're able to have unlimited time for your meetings, and you can also search folks within the directory to send them a direct link to the meeting as well. And so Zoom can assist with hosting full organization meetings, committee meetings, interviews, one-on-one conversation, virtual hangouts, movie nights, pretty much anything you can think of. Zoom is a great resource and online free resource too, provided by UGA. But if you are planning to host your virtual event through Zoom, here are some measures you should take into consideration when setting up that meeting in order to make sure that they're secure. And so ensure the meeting ID is automatically generated and that the meeting has a password. Do not publicly post your meeting ID or password. This includes to social media or the UGA master calendar, since anyone can access that information and join your meeting. Use the waiting room function to control when participants can join your meeting. Designate multiple hosts who can help manage the waiting room, and then also eject participants who disrupt the meeting or potentially aren't supposed to be there. Disable the join before host feature and limit screen sharing to host. This way, only those that you give host privileges to are able to join the meeting before you, as well as be able to share their screen. This way, you just have a little more control over the meeting. And then also consider requiring MyID authentication for the meeting so that only those with UGA MyID accounts can attend. While this is not a new update to the COVID-19 guidelines for student organizations, I did want to provide a few reminders about fundraising. Student fundraising activities that involve food will not be improved unless it's prepackaged. So essentially, you can no longer bake items at home for a bake sale, or buy something in bulk and then package it yourself. The items need to be bought or provided by a caterer, prepackaged and individually portioned in order to be sold or handed out at a fundraising event. Organizations are encouraged to fundraise online rather than exchanging items or money in person. And then lastly, just a friendly reminder that fundraiser requests should be submitted through the involvement network, and you can find that form on the front page at involve.uga.edu. So as mentioned before, we do have the Preventative Measures Advisory Board, also known as PMAB. And PMAB has a help desk online that is provided as a resource to the campus community on requests for guidance and assistance related to decision-making regarding the phased and gradual return to normal operations due to COVID-19. And so if your student organization is complying with these guidelines and is following all of the recommendations and encouragements, you are not required to have events or meetings reviewed by PMAB. However, if you have additional questions or would like further insight or guidance, you're more than welcome to submit those to PMAB. And so you can find additional information online. And this hyperlink is available within the full document on the ELS website. So within the full document of the COVID-19 guidelines for student organizations. And then a few additional resources that I wanted to highlight. I've mentioned the involvement network a few times, and so that is involve.uga.edu. So in addition to students being able to search for organizations to find their own involvement opportunities or to search their interests, it's also a management tool for student organizations. And so you can utilize the involvement network to send messages to your organization members for interest forms, applications, sharing documents with one another. keeping your roster up to date, to send out communication. And so the Involvement Network can be a great resource to streamline all of your communication, to have it all in one place. So we strongly encourage your organization to explore the Involvement Network and the different features available. And then on the ELS website, under organization resources, we have tons of different how-to guides and one-pagers on all of the different features of the Involvement Network. Additionally, we have the Student Involvement Listserv, which is sent out every Monday by Engagement, Leadership, and Service to all chief officers of organizations, students that have opted in and want to receive updates about involvement opportunities, advisors, and just many people within the UGA community. And so if you're interested in sending out an announcement request, so sharing out information about any upcoming events, membership opportunities, applications, or just general announcements about your organization, feel free to submit that through our listserv announcement request. That form can be found on the front page of the Involvement Network under campus links. And then if you're not already receiving our listserv, feel free to opt in. You can opt in through the Involvement Network as well, or at the bit.ly listed here. We also have the Student Organization Zoom series, and so we record all of these sessions and post them to our YouTube. You can visit the bit.ly here or the ELS website to find all of our recordings, and then you can also send other topics and ideas to ugaels@uga.edu. We're always looking for feedback and ideas of potential campus partners or topics that we can provide more information on during the Zoom series. And then lastly, we have our Presidential Summit. Presidential Summit serves as a monthly time for networking and fellowship for chief officers. And so on March 25th at 7 p.m., we'll be focusing on recognition and feedback. And so if you'd like to share ideas or hear from others on different techniques for recognizing and providing feedback to your members, this is a great opportunity to not only build a community with other chief officers, but also to just learn more on the monthly topic. And so you can find all of our presidential summits for the rest of the semester on the ELS website, but you're always welcome to reach out to ugaels@uga.edu for more information too. And so if you have any questions or want more information on anything mentioned here, feel free to reach out to us at ugaels@uga.edu. And then make sure to check out the full document of the COVID-19 guidelines for student organizations and all of the different updates on our website. And so while this provided some updates and reminders, as I mentioned before, this is not an exhaustive list. And so we strongly encourage all students and student organization leaders to take a look at the guidelines to make sure that you're considering all of the recommendations and adhering to all of the policies in place in order to really keep the health and safety of your members as the priority. And so thank you for watching this, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you have any questions regarding this Zoom series, future Zoom series, or the guidelines in general, feel free to reach out to me or the rest of our team at ugaels@uga.edu. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.